Hey guys, welcome to my 100 subscribers special. I once again just want to thank everyone for subscribing and supporting the channel. These last 2 months have been great, even if it is a little stressful to keep up. But without further ado, I thought I'd do something a little different from the usual. And in honor of the recently announced Super Mario 3D All-Stars, today we're going to be ranking the mainline 3D Mario games. So, criteria. The games will be judged on how much I like them. This list will be all my opinion, but I'll try to back up each of my claims with the analysis you've come to expect. And keep in mind, I think each of these games are great in their own right. Just because it's low on the list doesn't mean it's bad or isn't worth playing. I encourage you to disagree with me in the comments. Constructively, of course. Also, I won't be ranking Galaxy 2 because that game doesn't exist. I'm just kidding, I won't be ranking 3D Land because I've never played it. Whoops, let's get into it. I feel like it's an inevitability that 3D World ends up at the bottom of a lot of people's lists. 3D World certainly isn't bad, and if there's one thing I can give it, it's the most focused 3D Mario game. It knows exactly what it wants to be, and it doesn't deviate from that path. The level design itself is great, bringing that classic 2D Mario formula into a 3D space. Levels barely waste your time. They introduce their gimmick, test your skills, and immediately you are whisked away to another level, not really leaving time for boredom. The cat suit is easily one of the best power-ups in Mario. It almost feels like you're breaking the game by the way you're pretty much able to climb up anything. Along with the dive and the forward-facing attack, it feels insanely good to control, and it almost feels limiting when you don't have one on. The green stars in this game are an excellent addition. Some of them feel incredibly easy to collect, but others really push your platforming, reflex, and puzzle-solving skills. And when the game really ramps up towards the end, man, if you want a pure Mario platforming experience, World Mushroom and Flower are easily some of the best put together levels in any platformer. All I'm saying is that if Bowser's Fury is all new levels in the style of the last two worlds, I may need to bump this game up a slot. Unfortunately, 3D World doesn't show any of its good levels until 3/4 of the way in. The game takes forever to get going. The early worlds feel like such a slog as 3D World ups the difficulty in such small amounts. The first half feels incredibly forgettable. If you try to speed through this early section, you'll be punished, as it requires you to have collected a certain amount of green stars before you can continue. This would make sense if 3D World played like any other 3D Mario game, but in this game where green stars are wildly unimportant to the levels themselves, it just feels like padding. Bosses also take a hit in this slow start. Most of them are just boring. Mario has always had an issue with easy bosses, but at least in other games there's an interesting concept or an idea behind each boss. 3D World's most interesting bosses are a worm who bangs and a blob. They're either too easy, or uninteresting, or both. But really, the reason why I can't put this above any other 3D Mario game is, well, because of its focus. When I play a 3D Mario, I want weird missions, interesting locales, and grand set pieces. Unfortunately for 3D World, because of its precise focus on that pure Mario platforming, it comes off as uninspired and unmemorable. Once again, not a bad game, it's just not for me. Okay, first hot take of the video. Just because Super Mario 64 is one spot away from 3D World does not mean I think it's on the same level. Quite the opposite. I think this is the Mario title with the least things wrong with it. It has some camera issues and some lackluster bosses, but overall, it's a really solid package. It has some great courses, my personal favorites being Lethal Lava Land, Tiny Huge Island, and City Escape. Peach's Castle is a fantastic hub. Finding secret stars in the castle is my favorite part of 64. I mean, everyone remembers the slide because it was cool just to stumble upon it when messing around. This will be a running theme between these games, but Mario controls excellently. At first I thought it was a bit weird having access to punches and kicks, but I found ways to use them even when platforming. And that's all I can say about 64. It's like Mario himself. He's pretty good at everything, but he doesn't really master any element. Movement, freedom, set pieces, and story. These things would all be improved in future Mario titles. I give props to 64 for being the first of its kind. It's the base every other game got to work off of. But because of that, the other Mario games were able to build off this excellent base and make even better experiences. After the release of Mario Galaxy, one of the most critically acclaimed video games of all time, people were wondering, what's next? Galaxy was almost perfect in every way. It would be impossible to follow it up, right? Those grand levels, beautiful soundtrack, and glorious level design. Surely a sequel could never stand up to the legacy of that package, right? So, how do you make a sequel to one of the most praised games of all time? Easy. You just do everything slightly better. See what I did there? I should have never named myself this. Mario Galaxy 2 is legendary, simply for the fact it was able to outdo its predecessor in the eyes of many critics. And for good reason too. This game improved on what Galaxy did in every way. Galaxy 2 is wildly ambitious. The levels are more out there with more interesting concepts and crazier gimmicks. It takes the formula of the 2D Mario games and perfects it by adding the flair and style you come to expect from 3D Mario. It wastes none of your time getting straight into the action, and for this reason, it has the strongest opening world of any 3D Mario. You go in and out of levels at lightning speed for this first part. It hits you with its intro, then a level where you learn Yoshi, then the drill, then the Cloud Flower, which is one of the best levels in the game, and then Radical Highway. On top of that, Comet Medals are fun to collect and add a new layer of challenge. Mario Galaxy 2 is absolutely focused on what it sets out to do, and it absolutely one-ups Galaxy in that regard. So you might be thinking, if he's talking about the game so positively, then why is it ranked so low on the list? And that's once again because of its focus. Yes, it moves at an incredible speed, but that means each Galaxy has a maximum of 3 stars in it as opposed to Galaxy 1, which could have up to 6. It really made it feel like each Galaxy was a living and breathing place. Galaxy 2's levels sometimes can just feel like platforming areas specifically made for Mario, instead of the planets and stars they truly are. Galaxy 2 is a lot more cheerful and joyous, but that's not really what Galaxy 1 was about. Galaxy 1 made fun despite space, while Galaxy 2 makes space itself fun. There are a lot more blue skies, clouds, and waterfalls for some reason. Galaxy 2 as a standalone game would have definitely made it to the top of my list. It just had the misfortune of being a sequel. Well, I'm surprised at myself that Super Mario Sunshine ranks this high. Just as 3D World takes the title of most focused Mario game and 64 takes the title of the most well-rounded, Sunshine takes the title of the least polished Mario game. Sunshine has a bunch of bullshit that should have never made it past playtesting. It contains 3 of the worst levels in any Mario game. Here's a level where you become a Jamba Juice employee, which I'm pretty sure is a front for the Mafia. Seriously, has anyone been inside of a Jamba Juice? Here's a level where you guide a lily pad over the toxic tears of the Smash Bros. Fan base after watching a Nintendo Mini Direct partner showcase. Here's a level where you take over my gambling addiction. That one's not a joke. It feels like there's no end of unfinished and bad ideas. And yet this game still made it into the top 3. All of this can be attributed to the best part of the game, Flood. Remember when I said the cat power-up felt like an exploit? Flood feels like debug mode. It's just so much fun to go around breaking the game, finding shortcuts and unintended routes with the power of Flood. While we don't get a ton of levels, I love Serena Beach and Noki Bay. They're so relaxing, and yet they have bursts of wild fun and creativity. The areas where Flood gets taken away are also great. Although this Mario is neutered in terms of movement compared to 64, he still feels fluid and fun to control, making these sections a great test of your abilities. Sunshine gives off a Sonic 06 vibe, and I mean that as a compliment. Sure, it's not the most polished or put together experience in the franchise, but it's so consistently entertaining. And in the end, I think that's all that matters. With the other Mario titles, I tried to be a little unique. You know, give my own perspective. But for Mario Odyssey, yeah, I like this game for the same reasons everyone else does. After 64, each installment in the series wrangled more and more freedom away from the player. Mario Odyssey breaks the mold by letting you do whatever you want to. You can grab 10 moons in the kingdom, or grab them all before you move on. It's always up to the player where to go, what to do, what to collect, and the catalyst for this freedom is Mario himself. Unless Mario Odyssey gets a sequel, I'm calling it now, this will be the best Mario will feel, ever. The movement in this game is so intuitive, so simple, and yet it has so much depth, that even after months of not touching the game, I was able to regain my same level of skill with the movement that I had when I tried speedrunning this game. I wasn't very good at it, but I still had dreams, and 3 hours is still a good time, right? The kingdoms of Mario Odyssey are fantastic, with Wooded, Metro, and Bowser's definitely being the highlight of the game for me. The game has over 800 moons to collect, which means there is not a dull moment, or a slow section, or some time where you're not thinking how to move to your next objective. Mario Odyssey opens itself up to you the more you keep playing it. Moons that you thought had to be done with a certain capture or gimmick can just be obliterated if you have the smarts and the skills to use Mario to his fullest potential. And even if these bosses are incredibly easy, they all have something going for them. Creativity. A flower-sucking robot. A bird who looks like me. And a mechanical wiggler. Even if I beat these guys in less than a minute, I was so enthralled by their design and concept, I really didn't mind. Also, real-life dragon. Mario Odyssey is exciting, inviting, crazy, bombastic, over-the-top, and whimsical. But no, it didn't make me feel like a kid again. So, you've made it this far. You've probably heard me bash your favorite Mario game in some way, and you're probably appalled at all my opinions. So I've got to have some super analysis about Mario Galaxy's intricate level designs and how it's secretly the most well-designed game of all time, right? Well, I don't. When I was a kid, I remember this game giving me some of my best memories. waking up early before church just to sneak in 30 minutes of game time. Or coming back from school running from the bus stop just to squeeze a few more seconds before I had to do homework. All the problems, as minuscule as they were in child me's world, went away as I sat in front of the TV to experience happiness. And yet, as I've grown up, I've realized that this game is not joy at all. Mario Galaxy is the game that taught me how to push past sadness, and it's all thanks to Rosalina. Rosalina is probably one of the most complex characters in the Mario series. In fact, she's the only complex character in the mainline Mario series. The game seems to hide it away. You can only find her backstory in the library, and it's one of pain and distractions. Her story starts off simple. It's about Rosalina going on an adventure with the Luma she befriended. Together they search the cosmos for the Luma's mother to no avail. She distracts herself. They go from comet to comet, finding nothing but star bits and ice, but she still smiles. She distracts herself. The Luma and her build a spaceship together, a home for the two of them to live in. It's a monumental project and she seems happy. She keeps herself busy over and over again until she just breaks. This story is told so effectively, so simply, that even a 7-year-old me, who didn't understand what this sentence even meant, was able to relate to this character. She felt alone. We've all been there, whether it's been after the loss of a loved one, or even random thoughts that we're afraid of. That sadness that isn't upfront and it doesn't make you cry or act sad. It just sits there in the back of your mind. But it makes you feel lonely. So incredibly lonely that even when you're laughing, you're hurt. Where even when you're in a room with 100 people, it feels like you're the only one there. I know I've been there. Mario Galaxy shows the player how to overcome it. You can't just let it sit with you, because then you'll never find happiness again. You have to face it head on. And just like the Lumas, you have to transform your sadness into something new. Rosalina takes the pain from her lost mother and uses it to become the mother of the Lumas. But here's the important thing. Rosalina still remembers her home planet, and the place where her mother dies. She visits it often. Her story shows us that you can never truly forget pain. When you never face it head on, it lives off you. But after you do, it becomes a part of you. Who knows? Maybe I'm just overanalyzing and projecting myself into a silly game where you catch rabbits and collect coins. But each of the Mario games is able to capture tons of emotions like joy, fear, and anger. But Mario Galaxy is the only one of them that's able to capture sadness. And I don't know. I think that's beautiful.